Welcome back to Oxygen Not Included. My name is Nilaus, and we are returning to this wonderful game. This is it's about 3 years old, plus about 2 more years in early access before it was released, and we are returning to it. So what will this series be about? And this will be a pairing series. That means it is going to be working in tandem with my live streaming over on Twitch, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That means I'll be working on there, and then I'll be showcasing my builds, my designs, and the progress here. The very first episode will be all about getting you started, because maybe if you haven't been around on this channel for a couple of years, you haven't seen this game. It is an absolutely mind-boggling game in terms of complexity. We'll be just doing a very brief catch up on this, and then this episode will be about how to manage, how to plan out your first 50 cycles in the game. So we start with some dupes. They are named after the loyal patrons who were in chat at the time, and basically we start here in the middle of an asteroid. What we need to do is build a thriving colony in this asteroid. And how do we do that? Well, we can dig out to the sides, and then we can start claiming things. We have overlays here where we can see we have oxygen. These little dupes here, they need oxygen, they need food, they need toilets, they need amenities, they need happiness, and all of those things in order to be good and productive dupes. The first thing that I want to do, and this is always kind of what I want to do, is set up my city block design, because of course I have a city block design. I mean, if I didn't have a city block design, it would be really weird, wouldn't it? And that means there's always like a really fixed structure that I'm always using, and it gives me all the possibilities I need for this game. And let me see, how far out is this? This is 16, and that means I'll go. Basically, the way that you do it is you set from the middle, 8 out to the side, and then you have 1 for a door and then 1 for a ledge on the outside of the door. That's kind of how I found out that it's really convenient. That means this has to go away. And basically the overall structure of my base will now be according to this. And we'll just make a bit of a drawing out here. We'll be cutting making a lot of cuts in this episode, in this series, so that I can show you as much as possible. Right, so here we start with this. So what are the first things we want to make sure with these tubes? Well, if they don't, you can see here, they are hungry. They have some food in here. They start up with just a little bit of food. But they will also start filling up their bladder. And when they have full bladders, then they will start peeing. And that's not great. So what we need to do is actually the first thing we want to take care of is just a little outhouse out here. Let's build an outhouse out here, so they can take care of their outputs first. Somehow output is more important than inputs. This is oxalite that produces the oxygen we need just now, so we should be good to go. And basically at this point we need to build oxygen. What we need to build is then also make some furniture so they have a place to sleep. We'll build that up here, I think. And then we need to get down to this water so that we can use this water for what do we need for? Well, we need it for toilets. We need it for toilets later on. Over here, we're going to need a wash basin. Actually, we want to take this out because we want to make sure that they can wash their hands if they go to the bathroom. Otherwise, they will be full of nasty bacteria. Yep, there are a lot of these things in this game. There are a lot of things to manage. We'll do something along the lines of this. So we'll have a few outhouses, some places for them to sleep. And we will be digging down here into the water. And if we are really lucky, someone will be peeing in the water, because they just have a tendency to do that. No matter what I do to try to avoid it, they will have a tendency to do that. There we go. So this will dig down here, get a pump, get that sorted, and we'll start digging out a bit more structure in this, and then we can continue. We'll also be getting more dupes. You can see this progress bar up here. When this progress reaches all the way up in 2.1 cycles, we can request a new dupe. And with more dupes, we have more power to work in the base, but we also need to make sure that we have more toilets, more places to sleep, more food, oxygen, all of that stuff. So that's probably going to be the first things. As you can see, we moved a bit forward here, and we're starting to just make a bit more progress. We've gotten one more dupe coming in here to the little base, and we also have now started the researching. If we look at the research tree, actually, before we do that, let me say, if you like this video, this is an attempt or a test to see if there's an interest here on the channel for me to do this kind of content as a pairing with my Twitch stream. So if you like it, hit the like button, let me know in the comment section below, and of course, if you have been just aching to see more Oxygen Not Included because it has somehow disappeared completely off of YouTube for the last couple of years, well, this is it now. We are coming back to it, and also on Twitch we are way further ahead, but that will be series will be catching up to that. Anyway, so let's look at research. There is a big research tree here, and it's super complicated. It's also been expanded in the sense that it previously consisted of like one science and then two science, but now it actually has a third science and a fourth science as well. That makes it a lot more complicated, and I have no idea how that works, so we'll have to explore that when we get much further into the game. But the first thing is we have a little teeny tiny research station. This requires what does it actually require? I can't remember. Station. Let's see. It requires dirt. It doesn't require water. That's the supercomputer that requires water. So we need a little manual generator here, a little battery, and a little research station. This one out here is taking algae and making it into oxygen for the air. If you look at our oxygen overlay, there's full of blue oxygen everywhere. That's really nice. This is, by the way, if you're familiar with the game, but yours does not look like this, then that's because I use a little mod that displays different colors for the different parts. We have our dupes up here. Why do we not have the fourth dupe up here? Oh, that's because someone is sleeping here. Yeah, Aberon is afraid of the dark, so he sleeps next to all of the light here. That is good. We got the toilets going. We have a little compost heap. Everything is disgusting with all that stuff lying here around. That's totally okay. We also have all of this. All of the free growing stuff is available, and we'll just be using that. Unfortunately, something that always happens every time, without exception, someone will decide to pee in the water, St. Cabbage. And it could be anyone, St. Cabbage. But we're not gonna mention who did it this time, because that would be rude to who peed in our water supply. However, given that that's something that somehow always happens, there is also a way that we can mitigate this. So I will just be focusing on showing how that is done. We're going to need to dig down here, which unfortunately means that we're going to be more susceptible to sort of pee flowing down or other wastewater, but that's kind of how it has to be at this point. Once we get down there, get the sandstone. Let's get that one in here. And we now have it. Then I am going to build a block at this point. I'll just make it high priority. And boom. We have now eliminated the polluted oxygen because it couldn't displace somewhere else. So that's kind of one of those small tricks that you can do in the game. You can limit those blobs if there are blobs down here. Now it doesn't eliminate the actual food poisoning, but it's not much food poisoning, and they need a healthy dose of bacteria just to build up their immune defense system. It also just dissipates over time, so not too worried about it. So what we have now, we have bedrooms, we have toilets, we have water. We don't have anywhere to build, anywhere to get food from, so that's kind of a problem. And we don't have a more consistent power. So I want to build some power. I want to build some place that they can eat. I want to just take care of sort of, we got the very basic needs: sleep, inputs, outputs. So let's take care of the next needs in for the base. Now we have a little mess hall being built here. Lots of lights. That's very nice. And we need a potted plant to really get it up and running, get it really nice. But at least they have a place to eat. Look at that. What are you eating? Don't know. I thought that was a poached egg or fried egg. Oh, wow. You have hypothermia. You're freezing. We've also started designing a more modern lavatory. And these will need a supply of water in and a supply of water out and a cleaning process. And the thing is, with this duplicant, it is water positive, because washing hands is just turning clean water into dirty water, but the toilets will actually generate water. So we need to sort of have a way to generate water out of this and overflow it. In order for us to do that, we've also gotten a few more dupes. We're up to 7 dupes. I'm quite aggressively adding dupes here, and this might be something you're not necessarily familiar with if you're just getting started. I built my supercomputer, and just to get more research going. There are a few researchers that we want to get further in. Oh, I definitely don't want to do that. Here, we are just kind of starting on the normal ones, just knocking out all this stuff. This kind of like in Factorio, we start off with the red signs and then move on from here. So here we have our first food production, mealwood. We have, if we look at our food, we have 40,000, 43,000 calories available. Lots of it is in muckroot. Muckroot is just something you find out here in the world. I don't even know where I have some muckroot. If I even have some muckroot, well, we just find that one. Muckroot, buried muckroot. That's the stuff that we can just dig up and then eat as is. But we need to transition into building our own, or producing our own food. When we have more than 6 dupes, we can't rely on one diffuser. That one can support 6, but if it even ever goes into that max pressure, then let's call it 5 to 6. And now we have 2 of these. That means we're burning through more algae. Not a problem. We also, if we switch to this overlay, switch to our power, we can now see that I want to transition out of using this one. So instead, I want to get my power from dragging the power lines down here from a coal power plant. This will generate 600 watts of power. And going out here, we now have some bigger batteries. We store the coal next to it, so it's easy to get in here. And that's sort of a bit of structure for our power. The first big project that we're going to work on, which will be something that's going to be sticking around for a long time, is this thing. This is a very big storage that will be dedicated to clean water and only clean water, because this will then be for our food consumption. We'll also have a liquid pump here, which will be feeding up to the toilets. I'm building it all the way down here because then I can just let this water flow down, and I can also let this water flow down as well when I feel this ready. But we do need to make sure that everything here is ready for the production here. But it's one of the big projects that we want to do, as together with just gradually expanding outwards as well. So one of so as you can see, main objective now is getting the water storage, letting the water flow down. I'm just going to let this water, the original water flow down, even though it has food poisoning in it. That's okay. Then we're going to take the water up here and then make a flow. But that means we also need a place where we can let go of the polluted water. So that's the next part, because this one will generate polluted water that we need a storage for. So let's have a look at how we solved that problem. And now the water storage is completed. We can see that we've poured the water that was here and here. We poured it down here, and now we have a much nicer structure, as well as making these nice fire poles so that we can work quicker. PJTR is working on abstract sculptures. We'll be tearing this down and throwing it away soon, but he needs to get some practice. So let's see what we are actually using this for. We are bringing the water up here, and we're bringing it into the toilets, and then I have built this monstrosity that I want to enable. And while I try to enable this, we'll be talking a bit about how these work. So the intention is the water comes in here, and it merges this. Why I have a bridge here, because that means it has lower priority. It merges in, and then goes in here for the clean water. So here you can see the clean water goes in, and we can now see it tops up on the clean water. And then hopefully someone will come in, and once that comes in, we will also see that the polluted water goes up here. This monstrosity is 2 set next to each other. Basically what it does is it always goes into the first, which means it leaps over to this location and goes into the cleaning. So always go into the cleaning, and if the cleaning is full, then any excess will just continue on this pipe that's connecting here to here, and then jump on over, and then go over to the overflow, which will be over here. Now this is a nasty place. If we look at it, it's full of slime lung, which is somewhat dangerous. So what we need to do at this point is make a lot of deodorizers. This is our high combat slime lung. I never really deal with it like isolated. I just basically say, as long as we convert polluted oxygen into oxygen really aggressively, then slime lung will die in high pressure oxygen. So it's basically, you can see here how little it actually spreads out. So even though we have a monstrous amount in here, as soon as it comes out, it gets cleaned, then it starts dying off, and then I don't really have to deal with slime lung. Of course, when they go out here, they might get slime lung, but you know, there's no pain, no gain. Here, this is now in a stable situation. We can disconnect this one because I will never need to feed more water into this one as long as it keeps running. So that's like a big water project that was done. We now have a good storage of clean water. We have a use of the water in a nice cycle, so we can start switching these ones off. Let's disable the buildings here, so they stop using these in the future, and use our new lavatory, which will be net water positive. That is polluted water, but still net water positive. We are in serious problems when it comes to food, so we will need to get more food. I have 2 options of doing that, and that is more mill ice, which we can build up here, or it is starting to work on some mushroom farming down here. Both are good options, and I think with how little we have left, I think it's necessary to do both of it. Here, I'm just preparing this bucket to get all of my polluted water, and then get started on that. Now the polluted water storage is doing much better. It's now cleaned up. I have doors here, but I lock them as we get closer. So for example, right now they can go through this one, but as the water climbs up, I will lock the doors. If we look at the situation here, there's barely any slime lung available at all. There's a bit of fluorescent up here. I guess that's coming from the bristle blossom. But you know, you can see that how well we can take care of this. What I'm also doing is I'm putting the slime lung, which is emanating there, polluted dirt, rot pile, slime lung, all of that crap goes into the storage bin, which is below water, because when it's below water, it doesn't off gas. Yes, the polluted water off gases polluted oxygen, but the storage bin will not when it's submerged in water. So another thing we can see here, our food is dangerously low, so I hurried up and built 2 more rows of these. They will get up here. How close are we? Yeah, it's gonna be a bit tight on food, but I think we will make it. Of course, we'll make it. But it will be a bit tight, and probably cutting it a bit too close, because we're up to 10 dupes. It's me just wanting to get all my dupes in and getting them to work. So in this part, we have our lavatories are working. We have a tiny bit of coal power. We are using this rock crusher to make just a little bit of refined material. It is a kind of wasteful way of getting refined material, but sometimes we need a bit of refined material. So we'll go over here and have this available. And then, oh, I wanted you to start punching it. Come on, I need a puncher. There we go. No, that's not a puncher. Oh well, no punching for us. And come on, someone's got to be punching. You. Yes, Eldarx, there we go. Punch it. Love these animations. Love them. Right, so other things that we're working on is the hatches. These are small hatch farms. And what are they doing, and why are we doing hatch farms? Well, we're ranching them, and they are happy, and they are just having a good time here. They're idle, groomed, happy, and tame. What they do is they will eat rocks, and they'll poop out coal. So this is a sustainable way to make coal, but it's also a sustainable way to turn these as they grow up and they breed. There will be an excess of hatches, and those hatches will be turned into nice juicy barbecue. That's going to be a bit further down the line, but for now it's about sort of having a sustainable way to make coal, which is really nice to have that. Even though we do have lots of coal, 25 tons, it's a good to get this going. Get some ranches going, so we get, as we said, get a big build. This will basically just continue to build up here as we want. Other things that we are potentially looking at the heating problem at some point. If we look at the heat overlay, we have a warm zone here that we are breaching. Temperature right now is really nice, but it's not going to continue to be really nice, especially as we get more of the things that actually start heating up, like batteries, like coal generators, that kind of thing, like the science part. They are kind of intensive on generating heat, so that's something we need to pay attention to and be careful about. The last thing I wanted to mention that we had done, what was that? Oh yeah, storage. So what are we doing now? Since we have 10 dupes and we don't have enough work for dupes, I'm actually starting to have them clean up. You can see here they pick up dirt, they pick up more dirt, and then they go in and just be up here. This is a massive effort that will take like really, really long time. But if we look at the overlay, they don't like being here. The red means that it is really bad decor, and really unattractive to look at. The places where they need to spend the most time, I've tried to sort of set up some nice crown molding, and these also give a bit of decor. But the places like where they sleep, where they eat, where they work should be the best ones, and where they travel up and down here should be as nice as possible. So that's something we definitely have to pay attention to. So because it'll help them with their morale, and if they have more morale, they can learn more things, and that's what we want. We want to make sure that the dupes continue to learn and continue to get better hats to expand. Now we're up to cycle 33, and we will be continuing just to see where we are. We have our real license, we have our ranches, and then now that we sort of are not collapsing here on our food, then I think it's time for us to start building the next and the better food that will be mushroom farming down here. And so we built the mushroom farm. I'm building it as a vertical farm. We have a farm station in here. If we look at the room overlay like this, we can see that this room is 86 tiles, and it can be a maximum of 96 tiles. It has a farm station, which will help them grow faster. The issue we had was that we didn't have enough dust cap seeds. We only had 3 of those, so it was kind of getting hard to get it started here. Since it's further down the base, they will be saturated with carbon dioxide naturally, because carbon dioxide is the heavier gas, so it'll flow down here. The polluted oxygen here is off-gassing a bit, and sometimes we will get a tiny bit of oxygen in here, you can see here. That's why I am not doing the top ones. I'm focusing on doing all of the last ones. You can see we don't have any seeds for this, but as these grow up and become harvested, this is very close, this one. And once that gets harvested, then it hopefully will generate, it'll always generate 1 seed, but there's a chance that it generates an extra seed, and that chance is increased because it has the farmer's touch. Growth speed 100%. I'm pretty sure that actually increases the chance they get an extra seed. I'm not actually sure, but they need to grow in darkness in carbon dioxide, and they need it to be treated like management. You feed them shit and you keep them in the dark. So that's how you deal with mushrooms and managers. It's somehow the same. What I'm also doing here is I am starting to empty out this area so we get that as buildable area. In order to do that, I've made this little, I don't know, cauldron that we are pouring all of. So when we knock down a little patch here, it'll flow down here, and then it'll be pumped all the way through my base. There, and then go over to our storage here. So this is why it's so important to get the storage. And we have now 3 ranch farming, just keeping it going. You can see they will lay eggs, and it's just very nice. Aside from this, other general projects, you can see we have scheduled a lot of cleanup tasks here, and our population is doing quite well. We actually only have 8. Okay, 9, 10. So we have enough for everyone. We still have only 10, and I think that's a good place. By cycle 50-ish, you probably don't want more than 12 dupes if you can help it. So you can see here, they are just working on this. And basically, this is, I would say, a good place to be at around 50 cycles in. You got your lavatory, you got your water storage, you got your polluted water storage, you got food production, like the basic, you got more advanced food production down here getting started. You have some kind of way to do basic power. And you have, in my case, I always priority ranching because I really like ranching of what are they called? Hatches, yes. So I will always provide, prioritize this. What we want to do for now, or sort of in the future, as in the next episode, is we'll be definitely working on better power transformation, more hatch farming. We'll be working on aesthetics. We'll be working on dealing more with the slime lung, because that is, it's over here. We're going to be branching in. Another kind of thing is that gradually the base will heat up, especially if we start doing transformers and more power plants. So we'll also need to look at a cooling loop, and then we need to transition out of the oxygen diffuser as our power supply. Even though we have a lot of algae, and we can get more algae because we can convert slime lung into algae, then it's still something that is a bit concerning for us. That, well, it's not actually concerning at all, but it's just I don't really want to use that. I want to use water for that with a self-powered oxygen module, which is one of the things that we want to build in the next part. So self-powered oxygen module, cooling loops, we start getting more advanced in the next episode. So with that, I hope that you have enjoyed this little showcase of how to get started with the first 50 cycles of this game. If you have, be sure to hit the like button. It helps a lot. Let me know in the comment section if there are things you want more of, less of, if you think this is a good idea, bad idea, irrelevant, whatever. This is basically a test. If there is a good response to it, not necessarily only in quantity, but also in quality of response, then I'll continue this. And of course, if you want to see more, come on over to Twitch. I'm streaming this. This is a slow game, so it's really very good for a Twitch streams where we have several hours to work on designs, and then we can showcase what the design actually look like here on YouTube afterwards. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, take care, and as always, stay effective.